faculty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? We're back. Everybody's like, Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Whatever you want to call it. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's members only, guys. I see the chats lit up in green. Welcome, everybody. I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. All right, you guys. Same thing every day. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and get a membership if you can. All right, guys. And you don't have to apologize for those of you that don't have the means to donate. It's very, very free to hit the like button and then share with your friends and community. Or you could just rewatch my stuff, press play and go to sleep. And when I talk for 2-3 hours, it's all good. What's up, everybody? It'll take me a minute to get into exactly what we're doing today because I want to make sure everybody rolls in. So we'll talk about a few things. Today, I say, what about Jenn? What about Jenn? What about Jenn? It's going to come up today. It's going to come up. There's a lot of missing puzzle pieces in this case, and Jenn is a big piece of this case that's missing because she's not here. Stephan incriminates himself, her a little bit, and I was just listening to some interviews earlier with Jenn, and she was completely just like okay in one very moment with the sex stuff with Stephan Sterns and Maddie Soto. That was fine, but that was when, hold on, my green screen's bothering me. That was before they had found the body, and the officers were asking her about how often she has or is intimate with Stephan, and how often Maddie was being abused by Stephan, and how the timelines crossed over. She wasn't concerned with that at all. So I have a feeling they are definitely going to double back on that very soon. Welcome, everybody. This is funny. Suspect. Breaking news. This is not mine, but you'll hear it in a minute. Breaking news. Suspect claims PTSD after finding Maddie Soto's body. You gotta love Nancy Grace. I mean, her insight it's great for this because she is going to talk about Jenn Soto. She is going to talk about things that are relevant as an ex-prosecutor to the case. And I saw Dolly going through some of this. It also has 42,000 views. But that's not enough. We need more. Let's be real. There's clips about finding Maddie's body. There's clips about when her lips were ice cold and blue. But PTSD. And what about Jenn and her PTSD? What do you think she's going to say? If Stephan has PTSD, do you think she does? And that's why Jenn Soto went to a mental hospital? Do you think she's gone back to a mental hospital? We'll talk about all that today. What's up, everybody? How you doing? The Real Gemini, no lie. Good to see you. Yeah, Crash that Killer Potato, Randy B, one of my favorites. And you guys, I'm just going to give you an all-around trigger warning today with the evil potato, because I've been on fire all week with these phone calls and hearing over and over and over what's happened to Maddie Soto, and also hearing Jenn Soto's reaction to so many things that just don't match up. And then Stephan Sterns' entitlement, you guys, his entitlement is outrageous. And yes, justice for all missing children. Now, Sadie's mama, thank you for saying that. I appreciate you. I like to play all sides of justice. Normally, the side I'm playing here on my channel is for the victims and the family, right? You guys wouldn't like if I came on here and said, well, what about, I think Stephan Sterns does have rights. And well, I know he gets a tablet and all, but the tablet is for his mental health because they want to rehabilitate him. Now, if I were his psychiatrist, I might say that and play that side of it. But as me advocating for Maddie Soto and the family and for you guys, I would never, ever, ever say that. I would say Stephan Sterns is pig vomit, right? Right. So, anyway, justice for all missing children. And the side I take is for the victims to give them a voice and the families that need a voice as well, like Corey Michelow and Rebecca and Bree. That's why we exist. And there's a new case I'm going to take on next week. Absolutely. Absolutely. I posted on my community page. Forever 13 Forever 13. You'll see on my community page. Go over there. Hands were missing. Crazy, crazy. I don't even know what's going on in that case. I want to remember her name. I don't want to. It's on my community page, and I don't want to pull it up. But it reminded me because you said that, Sadie's mama, Kmani Latig, 13 years old, Toledo, Ohio. All right. Now, the alleged person that took her life was Darnell Jones, her own father. Okay. Her hands were cut off. She was essayed and she was nearly decapitated, you guys. Go onto my community page, check that out. That is a crazy, wild case. And she is also forever 13, you guys. She's also going to be forever 13, but it was her father. It was her real father, you guys. And why would you do that? Why would you do that to your child that you were already abusing? Now, her glasses and underclothes were found by the couch in the front, and her pajamas were in the dining room floor. Yet she was found with no hands, assaulted and decapitated. And it makes, nearly decapitated. It makes me wonder what exactly happened there. How, why, what, when, where. But more than anything, that little girl needs to have a voice for her and justice, and for you guys to know about it, because Kmani, I didn't even know her name until today. Kmani Latig. It's another Maddie Soto case, many similar circumstances, but really, really brutal. All right, the demons that some kinds are born to, right? Jay Gray. What's that? What's Jay Gray? All right, I'll have to read that. Yeah. Very demonic. That thing, yeah, pisses me off. But it's more and more and more and more. Kmani. It's Kmani, guys. Yeah, say her name, Kmani Latig. And these are the kind of cases that I cover because I can cover them, and I'm not going to like mess up my own mental health. I can talk about it and then know when I need to shut it down. All right. So we need to Jenn is covering behind her seeking mental health. I agree with that 100%. But if you were her mental health worker, they would say, well, no, she needs it because X, Y, and Z. Or if you were Stephan's mental health worker inside the prison system and you heard Jay from Guilty of Crime calling him pig vomit and saying he doesn't deserve his root beer barrels, you would say, you would have a different perspective on this whole thing altogether. But my perspective as the host of Guilty of Crime, hence the name, are for those that I believe are either guilty, have been found guilty, we're looking at, and there's a huge amount of evidence. And I'm not going to be soft on them. I'm not. But when the family comes on, I know how to dial it down. All right. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Jamie Dell. I'm glad you got to catch a live. I hope you guys can get on the green train. You guys need to get your membership. Tomorrow's going to be Members only, guys. Thank you for becoming a member. Sherry Mathis, Just Teresa, love you, Jay. Thanks for covering this. Member for 3 months. You have a Foxy box coming to you, Teresa. And tomorrow on the members only, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away Guilty of Crime merchandise that I have sitting right here in my box to one of you. And if you guys want me to sign something for you, I can sign something and send it over. A lot of people will buy my book and they want me to sign my book and send it over. Whatever you guys want, I'll do it. I just want to make sure that I'm supporting you, you're supporting me, and we're all supporting this community. All right. So I appreciate every single one of you here. Nancy says, if Jen took so many pills to sleep, why would Maddie sleep in her room sleeping bother her? Yeah, right. It doesn't. She just didn't want to listen to the stuff that was going on with Stephan and Maddie. It was clear. She knew Stephan was going to come over for Maddie's birthday and they were going to want some privacy. I'm telling you, I am so convinced. I had bet my car keys on this. All right. I bet my car keys that Jen knew and she just turned a blind eye. Yes, only me, baby. I wrote a book about my life and I'm also a graphic designer by degree. So there's a lot of visuals, but it's called Reason 111 Why I'm Gay. All right. If you didn't know I was gay by now, I just outed myself. All right. So if you guys would do me a favor and drop that link in chat, my mods, maybe Synth, I see you, Foxy Amazon, or Tiff, or Carly, or Sweetie. If you guys can drop that in there, The Real Gemini. My book is right there. It's on Amazon. You can just type in Reason 111 Why and it will come right up. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a little bit of like sad, but then it gets much better. Like it's a little sad, but it's not that bad. No. Sorry, guys, if I just bursted your bubble. Marilyn likes when I go, what? All right. You're gay. What? Oh my God, I'm out of here. A reason and 112 Stephan Sterns, what we could do to him. Recent 112 ways to do the death penalty on Stephan Sterns. How about that? All right, to each their own is what I say. Yeah, that has nothing to do with anybody. I'm married to a woman, 20 years, have 2 children, and we just hit 222. So that's Maddie. Let's say a prayer for Maddie that Jenn Soto gets arrested and that we get complete and utter justice for Madeline Soto. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Why, Jay? Why? Because of her stepdad, like the whole what? I don't know. You need to read my book because there's no reason why you're that way. I think I might need to straighten that out. But yeah, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. 112 reasons why he's a chomo. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'd say 112 ways to take his life on death row. I could probably think of more than that. But welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, the DNA can't get rid of that, really. We still have yet to go over the DNA and all that. Now, Artemis Prime says, I'm reconsidering my cisgender ID. All right, let's get into this. Good evening, Barb. Good evening to you. I want to make you guys laugh for a second because Nancy Grace makes me laugh just because she's just so outlandish. I love her. I love her strong personality, but it's so funny when she comes into the game late and says, breaking news, right? I mean, that's probably going to be me when I'm her age, all crazy and that's how she sounds. Wow, she's like, this is like days late.
Tonight, a murder suspect now claiming he has PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, after he finds Maddie Soto. He finds her already.
Now again, this is not funny. I just when I heard it and she said breaking news, I'm like, oh my God, and no reason. Yeah, you're born that way, in my opinion. And if you read my book, trust me, read my book. I'm telling you right now, I tried everything not to. I tried to cleanse my soul, pray the gay way. Not really, but you just got to read my book. And I didn't go that far, but you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it was the easier route would be for me to just find that producer guy that makes a bunch of money, and then I could be a stay-at-home mom with my kids. It just didn't work out that way. So Modern Soul, Danny, you nailed it. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. Hashtag at Jay, guilty of something, right? All right, let's keep going. That's funny. I just wanted to yeah, it doesn't matter who anybody sleeps with, and we're definitely moving on A squared. It's just the introduction to let everyone roll into chat so that we can play this episode and react to it. All right, gotta have a sense of humor if you're in here. If you don't have a sense of humor, you probably won't like it here.
Ice cold with blue lips. This revealed in a stunning secret jailhouse recorded call. He's also whining about his mattress and his food. And we learn as he's whining to mommy and daddy on the phone, he actually blames Maddie's mother, Jenn Soto, for her daughter's sex abuse and murder. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with.
Just because you don't care about your monetization, I do, Nancy. Dang her. Just kidding. But that's really what happened to Maddie. And I love how bold she is. You guys, let me know if her voice is, or if mine's matching hers, because she's talking really loud and I have mine at an adjustable volume. So let me know if I need to adjust it. All right, let's get past this.
Found naked, being, and more. Okay, that's you. And now you're complaining about your mattress? Going so far as to give the jail a 1-star review on Yelp? What are you thinking? The stories are changing. And all I can say is thank you, heaven, for technology, or I would never be able to hear what Stephan Sterns is claiming. For instance, that his girlfriend, Jenn Soto, she's the one to blame for little Maddie's and sex abuse.
And I'm really hoping that Nancy's going to weigh in on this. I've seen parts of this. Yeah, she's very loud but brash, very different. Love her. As a former prosecutor, and you remember how she looked way back when, right? With the Casey Anthony and then before that. But the way she is now is just perfect. She does that because she's playing it up to the case. And we're also very unhappy with Jennifer Soto and what Stephan Sterns is doing. And I gotta tell you, in the last week, I haven't changed my mind about Jenn Soto. I've just changed my mind about the fact that she has to be arrested at some point, you guys. When you listen to these phone calls, whether Stephan's lying or not, whether I mean, we see it for ourselves in the Jenn Soto interviews where the cop says, I'm going to be frank with you here. I'm pretty sure that you knew about it. You turned a blind eye. Not once does Jenn Soto say, I did not know about that. Had I known about that, I would have. Never once does she say that, you guys. And I'm not going to make you go back and watch those. You guys can go back and watch them yourself. But she does not once ever say she didn't know. If she would have, the only thing she says is, Stephan, get a lawyer. I don't think you took Maddie's life. Bam, bam, bam. Randy B, yes, is available. Yes, it is. Absolutely. I believe it's Audible. You can go check it out. I'm pretty sure it's Kindle. I don't know about Audible. That's a good question. Probably not. All right, let's keep going.
And so much more. And he's now saying, wait for it, that he found Maddie's body.
Exactly.
Ice cold.
Ow.
Her lips blue. Listen.
And we've heard
her
this.
pale face and blue lips and how ice cold she was, and it's great.
That's going to stay with you. Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, I remember seeing my brother when he had passed away, and that's the last thing I remember seeing of him. And so.
Yeah, it's just, you can tell.
Yes, you can. My dad, yeah.
It's just, when they're gone, really, really, truly gone, there's nothing you can do. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
Well, you could get the death penalty. You could do that.
Yeah.
But whoa. Okay. with me an all-star panel to make sense of what I'm hearing. And I've got a
Yeah, I hope again we're not forgetting Jen. We're gonna delve into the whole Jen situation, right? What's up, Tina McNabb? How you doing? Welcome to the family. You guys get a membership. Tomorrow is members only. We're gonna go over Jodi Arias and the whole case. I've got autopsy photos I'm gonna put over on my Patreon. It's a brutal case, but it's something I think that we need to talk about. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow on a members only. So go check that out. Foxy just gave one of you guys a membership for tomorrow so that you guys can come on and listen to what we have to say. He is very full of it. But where was Jenn Soto? I believe Jenn Soto was right there when it happened. When I mean right there, she was in the house. We know that. I don't believe that she was downstairs sleeping. I believe she was helping him think of a way and what they should do, scripting the story and all that, because I just watched her again and I watched her psychic ability kick in. 1, 2, 3. Jen tells you everything that she didn't or wasn't supposed to know. All right.
a ton of these jailhouse calls. I don't know if I can even get through them all because each one is a bombshell.
It was hard.
This is going to be hard, but Joe Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, I'll give him the whole intro in a moment, but just one word. What was this girl's COD, cause of death? One word.
Yeah, it was strangulation, Nancy.
One word.
Up close and
One word.
personal, with his hands wrapped around her neck.
Shannon Butler joining me, investigative reporter, WFTV Channel 9 in this jurisdiction in Florida. Shannon, there's so much in these jailhouse calls, and I cannot wait for them to be played in front of a jury, from giving the jailhouse a one-star review on Yelp for their food and mattress, whining about the lights. It goes on and on, blaming Jenn Soto, Maddie's mother, for her sex abuse and murder.
You blanked
But
it
now,
out.
and I find more probative, Shannon, he's giving more stories about how Maddie was.
Now, again, I gotta say, I'm relieved that he's not. Well, he kind of does blame Maddie too, but Maddie wasn't old enough to consent. He blames Maddie and Jen, but I'd rather him say like, "Hey, Jen gave me the green light to go." Like Maddie stepped outside the boundaries. He's victim blaming when he says Maddie stepped outside the boundaries. I told her she couldn't sleep with me, but Jen okayed it. She pushed her up there with me. They were both sitting around talking about how cute I am. Now he left out the part where he would walk out of the shower and when he walked out of the shower, he would just walk out with the turtleneck popped out and they didn't even care. The thing is Nancy edits some of her words and then other ones she doesn't. She just bleeped it out and then she didn't. It's like, come on, say no. She's just harsh. I just wish she would stick to one or the other. It's really hard. Yeah, that is not funny when he talks about the Yelp review. They talk about Madeline Soto, but they have no sympathy when they talk about her at all whatsoever. So that's the problem I have with it. They do talk about her, guys. They're telling us all of their secrets that are going to go into court. They shouldn't be talking about her at all. If you're going to talk about her at all, at least have some remorse, but they don't.
Killed. And the reason I went to Joe Scott Morgan, for Pete's sake, he's a death investigator, 1,000 cases under his belt, is because you hear him on the jailhouse call stating that when you find them that way, that's really going to stay with you. When you find them that way. And the mom and dad compare Maddie's murder to an elderly uncle or brother passing away. What, from old age? Maddie was strangled dead.
Yes.
Likely after being.
Yes.
What is this guy thinking?
Yes.
Well, and according to him, he knew that, right? Because he also says on these calls that he had seen her autopsy. But what he could not explain, even to his parents when they tried to ask some questions, was what happened between 11 p.m. when she supposedly went upstairs with him in that bedroom, and what happened at dawn, where he now says he found her. So the parents kind of asked, well, what happened? And he's like, I don't know. I just came back in the room. I can't sleep at night. So she started with me in the room. Then I got up and walked around the house because, I can never sleep. And when I came back, that's how I found her. Could not explain all of those hours before he now says he found her body, which is a story, by the way, that we had never heard. We've heard a few stories from him, but this was the first time we heard that.
To Shannon Butler joining us, investigative reporter WFTV. I am beside myself.
Yeah, that always is the problem when you're when you have a trial. That's what you never get, right? You never get that time frame between what time that something happened and then the next moment. That like never comes out. I don't know if it's because the person doesn't want to dig it back up or they think that small part is going to save them. I don't know why my light's flashing like that. Sorry about that. But yeah, we don't know what happened between 11 and let's assume that she was already ice cold by 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, haunting around the house sounds about right. I feel like he was moving around the house and trying to clean up, talking to Jenn, trying to see what was going on. And then that came with, I'm going to go do my blood appointment tomorrow. I don't think she had an appointment. I think she just was trying to go back and forth and they were trying to play off of that script. Hello, my Leo twin, Sharon Belko. Good to see you. Mods chat. Thank you for everything and the gifted memberships. Appreciate you. All right. Randy say same thing I thought of. All right.
Not only that
I know
little
you
girl
are.
died in her own home with her mom snoring away in the next room or a few rooms over, but could you just give everyone a refresher, a nutshell, a cliff note
at
on
11
what was
and
found
40
on Sterns' own cell phone after he tried to wipe it of all its information?
Oh, horrifying images of abusing Madeline Soto since she was 8, 9, 10 years old. That's the videos that they found on his phone. He tried to get rid of them. He didn't.
And that's always the haunting photo that I show you there. And the reason it's like the John Benet Ramsey one where she's grabbing her mom's belt. That's a haunting photo. This is a haunting photo. This is around the time she was already, in my opinion, being groomed by Stephan Sterns. I don't think Jenn and Stephan were yet, they hadn't fooled around. They hadn't been intimate with each other. And he was strictly grooming Maddie at that time. You see her hands like this. She's not comfortable. When I play chicken with the kids in the pool, it's like they're breaking my neck. They're choking me and holding on so tight to my neck because they don't want to fall off. She's just like, I'm up here. Yeah, I'm taking. That's how little she was, you guys. So put that into perspective about when he started abusing Maddie. It's that, not the girl that you see, the young lady that you just saw in that Christmas picture with her mom looking, by the way, high as a kite. I don't know what they gave her, if she just woke up. Welcome, Melissa. Good to see you, Melissa Johnson. But yeah, that's it. That's a picture right there that they should show to the jury in this case and say, this is when, this is the time, this is what she looked like, not this. It's this, not this. Because when you look at the 13-year-old version of Maddie, she's taller than Jenn, obviously much prettier. You can't think but you look at this and you say, this man is saying he's in a relationship and this little girl came onto him. You see that little girl right there? There's no way she can come onto him. And I'm not saying she ever did. That's his own morbid imagination, but that's what we're looking at right there. That's what we're looking at. That's the age, not the other one that we just saw. Yeah. Yeah, he liked her young, and she was growing out of that age. She was. Jenn Soto said it too. I heard her again on an interview saying, why would Stephan do this? He doesn't have a motive. He said the exact same thing in those phone calls we just listened to the past 3 days. He just said, I wouldn't have taken Maddie's life. I had nothing to gain. It was all a loss. I missed her. I loved her. I'm always going to love her. He said that, and Jenn said that. And I just heard that in that couch interview today where all the rolls of paper, you remember Grish and throwing all the paper towels? That's what she said. Why would he have done that? Don Wells says the same thing. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, let's keep going.
That was, obviously immediate red flag for law enforcement. And now to say, I didn't have anything to do with any of this. She slept with me. None of this, happened. I left, and, I guess he must have forgotten that they had lots and lots of video of what happens in the evening.
He did say that.
It's amazing to me, and I'm going to play it in just a moment, how his mom totally enabling him, saying this was forced on you. You were set up.
Absolutely.
And actually telling him, yeah, you have PTSD because you found her body. Okay, to Philip Dubé joining me. Philip, we're not in court. Okay. You don't have to impress a high-paying client. So don't throw any Latin phrases at me. Let's not make anything up, just spin it out of whole cloth. What kind of a sick freak, not only repeatedly a child over and over, but films it?
One who engages in what I call virtual porn. That would be the defense, because they have to prove, according to a case from the U.S. Supreme Court dating back to 2002 called Ashcroft, that it is a live person. You're looking at me like I'm nuts, but that is a valid.
That's interesting. This is the interesting point to hear. And that's why I bring this episode to you, because they bring stuff that we're not thinking about once this gets to trial. And Cynthia, you're right. It's devil's advocate. You're always going to have a devil's advocate depending on the perspective that you're coming from. If you get Stephan Sterns, psychiatrist or psychologist, or the person that has been checking his head, they're going to go on the stand and say, he had this TBI and he never really grew up, and he all this kind of stuff, all this clinical talk that we don't know because we don't study that, nor do we really care, because we just want to see him either get life in prison forever or the death penalty. So thank you for saying that. We're always going to get this devil's advocate. Yeah, people always say his eyes are weird and such, but it's good to hear the other side, because that's what's going to happen in court. And by the way, if you guys were watching the Grizzly True Crime, the cold case with Anita, was it Anita Rice? Am I getting it? Is it Nicole? It's Nicole and Anita. She got a not guilty, which is, hey, they did not have enough evidence, in my opinion. I do think that her roommate was the one that took her life, but she didn't get justice, you guys. And I believe that's why they're not prosecuting Jenn Soto, is they don't want to have a case that is on just all pure speculation, and they don't want to have a reasonable doubt. Sharon says, I feel like I need to say this. Jay, I appreciate you, and your mods are truly the wind beneath your wings. My twin, all of you came together perfectly. Well, thank you, Sharon. I do appreciate that. Yeah, that was a crazy Anita Knudsen. Thank you. I got them backwards. It's Nicole Rice and Anita Knudsen is what they called her, the victim. I don't feel like Anita got justice because the prosecution did not bring it. They just didn't have the evidence, and they don't get a better chance. They don't get another chance, guys. There's no second chance at doing this. And they're not even going to be able to civilly sue her because there's not enough evidence. That's what we don't want. That's what we don't want. Patty, yes, this is the best community. I'll take that. All right, let's listen to this guy.
Valid First Amendment defense. How are they going to lay a foundation?
Whoa, wait. Jackie, I need a nitroglycerin pill, and I need it right now. Okay. First Amendment, right to free speech.
Correct. Political, cultural.
That may work in California,
yes.
But I guarantee you, it's not going to work in Florida. Did you just say virtual porn could be a defense? To murder?
Well, to the sex crime.
Yeah,
so
we're not talking about
open
that.
Pandora's box and ask him a question. Never mind. Erase. Let's go back to the jailhouse calls. Guys, while Dubé stews.
Now, I believe he's talking about all those pictures, right? I love Nancy too, but the pictures, he never actually met them, even though we consider them victims. Every single person, every single child that was looked at in those pictures are victims. But hey, apparently there's the devil's advocate they're playing. There's a law. There's a criminal. I don't even know what you would call that. Synth, fill in the blanks. to call them not real people. And by the way, it's virtual CSAM, if you're going to call it that, because it's, yeah, why it says, what the hell? Virtual CSAM, isn't most of it online? PORN, by the way. Oh my goodness. I guess it doesn't matter, right? I love when Jay pauses Nancy's faces. All right, let's keep going.
In his own juices, coming up with a zany defense of virtual porn.
It's still not
Let's
that,
listen
though.
to more of Stephan Sterns' jailhouse calls. Now, in this one, he is blaming Jenn Soto, Maddie's mom, and yes, there's a lot to be said about her. But how can you blame her for Maddie's and murder? But just listen.
You know, Stephan, I can't help but get the feeling that none of this that was on the phone was a surprise to you.
She was aware that I had certain feelings towards me.
So right there, that was it. She just said it. And thank you, Thunder Maiden, for becoming a member. You will not regret it. We're going to have a good time tomorrow presenting true crime. He just said it right there. I have a feeling that she knew, and they blurred out Jenn Soto, and that was it. And he said, yeah, she did. She knew. They joked around. They fought over me, etc., etc. That's what he's saying. And what is up? Shout out to Heidi Chavez, finally made a live. All right. We heard it. Jenn Soto, you knew.
Yeah. Well, then why was she considering to sleep with you?
She used to joke about it, call it an electric complex. Used to joke and say, you better not leave me for my daughter when she's older, things like that.
Woody Allen, guys.
Laugh about it, and they used to both ogle over me and comment on me and talk about me together and giggle. And
they used to both oogle over him and talk about him and giggle. And my stinky Sterns is too far away, so I'll just put this up. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. They used to oogle over him and laugh and joke about him. That I do believe. I do believe that Jenn and Maddie fought with each other. I do believe that Jenn turned it into a competition with her. I do believe that Jenn Soto absolutely knew, and she absolutely threw around that Woody Allen thing. And it doesn't matter if it was at age 10, 13, or 16. That little girl was being abused from the time that she was on his shoulders, in my opinion, because he was grooming her. All right. Absolutely. You heard it from the horse's mouth right there. Now, we don't believe Stephan or Jenn, but we all know what we heard from Jenn. And what we believe is that she knew. She's the one that said the Woody Allen thing. So it got into his head, and it's like, oh, wait, what? Yeah, poor Maddie. It's infuriating. All right, we have 413 people in chat. You guys, if you would do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. And if you're not green, you don't have a membership, for a giveaway and members only tomorrow. Okay.
talk about how nice I looked, and it was not an appropriate situation.
No, it was inappropriate.
Like murder is. Okay, wait. I can hardly piece this apart. Shannon Butler, help me. I got to bring in a shrink also to explain what is an electric complex, but I'm not a shrink. Neither of you. You give me the facts. Did you hear what he just says? The mom says basically Jenn Soto set you up, that she was, quote, aware of Maddie's feelings about me. And the mom, this Deborah Sterns, well, then why would she send her in there to sleep with you? Like, what? Like it's Jenn's fault? And I'm certainly not defending the mother. He says she used to joke about it, call it Electra, and warn me I could never leave her for her daughter. What is he talking about, Shannon?
Well, remember, there's all these conversations about how Jenn always thought this was kind of a Woody Allen situation and that could happen. So it was very clear that Jenn Soto.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, and before she even says it, Jenn Soto was absolutely jealous of her daughter, she offered her up. She absolutely offered her up. The moment she said, go out of my bed and go sleep with my daughter, the moment that she said, let's all sleep in the bed, I'll put Maddie in the middle, the moment that Stephan walked out of the bathroom and was naked and she let that be okay, that's the moment that Jenn Soto offered up her daughter. And look at that. Maddie was becoming a beautiful young lady. She was getting taller than Jenn. Jenn looks like the grimace. Jenn looks like a potato. Jenn's an evil potato. And there's so many other things I can talk about Jenn Soto with her too many teeth, big gums, frumpy looking, boxy, evil potato, terrible momster, right? We can go on and on and on, but that's what was happening. There was a competition that was going on between them, and when that should not have been happening at all. She was supposed to have protected her daughter. Welcome, Rebecca. Good to see you. Absolutely disgusting.
Had some indication that something was just not right in this relationship, but for whatever reason, that did not change her letting Madeline Soto sleep with him, sleep with both of them. It is so bizarre to me, and this is what at least here in Orlando, all the viewers get so upset over this. When they hear stuff like that, they immediately believe that Jenn Soto had to have known something and that nothing's happened in that case, right? She is not charged with anything, and people just can't understand how a mother would joke about anything like that. And even when you listen to the parents,
wait, Shannon, hold on. You're jumping on the bandwagon. And yes, I've got huge problems with Jenn Soto.
I told you we were going to come back to Jenn Soto. What about Jenn? Right? And I wasn't talking to you guys. Reese was asking me what I wanted for dinner. Did you ever stop to think why Yolanda didn't like Stephan Sterns? Why Gramps Jose took off in the van? They knew money is their god. Missy, I agree with you. Money is their god. And whoever called Jenn the Grimace Soto, I love you. All right, 1 second. Let me hit play.
Huge. Sending her daughter off to sleep, and this was much younger than 14, alone with her live-in boyfriend. But Jenn Soto, may have been wrong. Well, forget it. She was wrong. That's a whole nother can of worms. Maybe they haven't charged her because they want her testimony. I don't know what they're doing. And of course, she hasn't been charged. She's innocent until proven guilty. I'm talking about the murder. Tom Smith is joining me, former NYPD detective.
Stop saying that. Stop saying that. We know she took. See, Nancy gets in the algorithm no matter what. But Nancy, we do love you. It doesn't even matter. I just want to be in the algorithm so everybody can see this. And again, you're stuck on the white crock in Jen's room. Why aren't they using that against her? But they have to have context. If they try Jenn Soto and they try to say, yeah, see that white crock down there? And you hear that other evil potato saying that she knew, that's not really going to stick in court. And we're going to get a Anita Knudsen trial with Nicole Rice saying bye-bye or bye-bye-bye like NSYNC, and you're never going to be able to try it again. Yeah, I got you there, huh? Tiff is our merch girl. Now she's going to start messing with Grimace and Jenn. All right, let's keep going. Cynthia, welcome. I'm glad you caught alive. Yeah, the grim potato. Sadie's mama. I love it. You can never have this conversation about the Madeline Soto case without saying hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. Where does she fall into it? All right. Need some guilty of crime, Angie. Well, thank you. We need some Angie. So thank you for stopping by. I'm glad. And just listen. You can just listen while you're driving or working.
I'm beside myself. Guys, if you want to find Tom Smith, he is co-host of the Gold Shield Show at goldshieldShow.com. Why? I've got a dead girl body dumped. Video has emerged of what we believe is Stephan Sterns dumping her limp body. Another bombshell tonight is that enzymes from Decomp are found on the front seat of the car where Stephan Sterns, had Maddie buckled in like they're riding to school.
Right now, this is why this is a good conversation when we start having it about decomp in the front seat. And there's going to be different levels, right? There's going to be different levels. There's going to be different saturations of maybe the front seat versus how saturated it is in the trunk, depending on how she's moving around, how he put her back there, right? And only the people that do these things like autopsies, toxicology reports, can talk about that. So merch, go to guiltyofcrime.com, you guys. 444 say I wish for Madeline Soto. Okay. And somebody had a question, but it flew by way too quick. It's the merch store, Jen's a Gypsy. We keep putting new items up on the merch store with new designs. It's all at guiltyofcrime.com. Simon says, I have a serious concern about the whole Soto family. Yolanda down. No one noticed anything. Approximately 6 years. Well, they did notice something because they did not like Stephan Sterns at all. All right. And yes, you're absolutely right there.
She decomped onto the front seat. Yeah, explain that, Sterns. How are you going to blame Jenn Soto for that? And listen, Tom Smith, I'm not defending Jenn Soto. I'm talking about the murder and Stephan Sterns blaming her.
Yes.
I mean, it's always like this. It's always this, pointing the finger at somebody else.
Right. This is a monster. Bottom line, end of discussion, where he took the life of this young girl and just blames everybody else for his actions. He's very well aware of what he did and how he did it, but tends to, let's deflect to this and that. I mean, he is a flat out monster. And the other part of this, like you said, this girl was surrounded by people that enabled him to do this. And she was the poor victim in this case. Mom, this guy's parents, all having an understanding of what was going on.
Yes.
Let it happen.
Yes.
And
see,
inevitably
guys?
just took her life.
You know, Philip Dubé,
everybody around them was aware of it, you guys, including Yolanda. That's why Stephan wasn't allowed around. You saw how they backed away from him. Yolanda knew that that Maddie was troubled, couldn't sleep alone, had nightmares. She told the news station from day one, and that's perfect. He is a monster. Everybody around knew. It wasn't just Yolanda and the Soto side. Look at Stephan Sterns' parents and how they talk about it. They knew their son was into kinky stuff, and they knew that all three of them were sleeping together. And they even said, we knew that little girl shouldn't have been sleeping in bed with you. But did they do anything? Absolutely not. What's up, Millie? Good to see you, my girl.
Veteran trial lawyer out of LA County. Don't you just love when you find out what your client's really thinking on jailhouse calls? It's not like they don't know they're being recorded. Every 30 seconds or so, there's a recording that states you were on a jail line. Everybody knows what's happening, but yet they still blab.
Yeah, I don't know where that whole phenomenon comes from, except to say that they think that if they change their original story into multiple iterations of how it could have gone down, that they're saving their hide. But the truth is they're creating multiple inconsistencies, and it points toward guilt. I tell every client, the initial consult, don't talk to anybody. Don't talk on the phone about your case. If you have to, just talk about the weather, talk about your favorite holiday, talk about how much you miss everybody, but don't get into the facts of your case. Otherwise, you know what happens? I get a terabyte of data on an external hard drive that I got to listen to from the DA's office and then have to sit down and lock up and play for the client. And what does it really amount to? Additional inculpatory evidence.
Hi, guys. If you're all Philip Dubé, why didn't he call 911 if he just found her, quote, ice cold with blue lips? Why did he think it was a better idea to dress her up in school clothes and strap her dead body into his car and drive around like he was?
And this has to be a conversation, because I've asked you guys this so many times and you can't answer me back. I see chat flying, but I've said this a million times. Why did he dress her up, put her in the front seat, and then take her around and then drive around for hours with her body in the car, even coming back to the house? So I hope they're addressing that too. But the number one thing he did was get her dressed up. In my opinion, Jenn Soto helped him. She knew what Maddie was wearing. She didn't want that released right away. She didn't want them to find the body right away. Okay, period. She didn't, because all the evidence would still be there, and it happened so quick. They didn't realize that was coming. They thought the photos were deleted. But why dress her up? Now, if he just did that, then he would have called 911 and not done all the other stuff. He's a liar, period. Yeah, it was their sick plan, in my opinion.
Taking her to school, and then throw away her laptop and her backpack and throw her body in a densely wooded area when he could have just called 911. Thoughts?
The only arguments that he can avail himself to is that he was trying to protect the mother.
You're welcome.
That there, believe it or not, there was still some type of feelings toward the mother, and he didn't want her to get into trouble. And certainly he did not want to be accused of doing anything to the child. So what do? The first thing that comes to mind is you ditch the evidence, if you will. And in this particular case, it happens to be the remains of his child.
He just said a mouthful, you guys. He just said he wanted to protect the mother. The only reason that he would want to protect Jenn Soto is because he didn't want to be looked at as a suspect, and he didn't want them looking at all of his stuff like they did. He didn't want them looking at his phone. So Jenn and him had a pact, and that pact was, you let me do what I want to Maddie. We've got this thing going. And then when the death came, the death was, oh, shoot, you're going to take care of it, Stephan. You're the one that's been doing this for years. You've had the largest benefit. Go get rid of her body. This is where you go take it. I'm going to go do this. You're going to go do this. We'll double back around. Don't take your phone, obviously, so it doesn't track you. I mean, he just said it. He literally just said, well, we're all thinking about, there's only reason Stephan would care about Jenn and how she felt. It's not because she lost a daughter too. Now, he said that she lost a daughter too. Now, Stephan Sterns, that was not your daughter. That was your object, your play toy, your victim. You abused her. Okay, so that's not what we're saying. Randy B, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. I always appreciate you. Yeah, he loved both of them, I bet. Exactly.
And he was in panic mode. And what do you do in panic mode? You don't think things through. You do things sort of off the cuff, like an amateur. And he got caught.
Okay, wait. So hold on. Are you actually going along with his theory, Philip Dubé, that he found Maddie dead?
No, not in the least. But if I had to defend him, that would be the argument.
There you go.
Believe me, this man would not want me on his jury. But I'm just saying that if I were commissioned by the court to defend him, I would argue to the jury that he had no hand in her death, had nothing to do with it, and point the finger to a third-party culprit. And who would be the easy dupe in this case? The mother.
Okay, you would actually say that to a jury even though you believe it's a lie?
There is no room for political correctness in a criminal trial.
Right.
If you're going to worry about what the public, what the court...
I'm not asking what the public thinks. I'm asking you, could you argue that to a straight face with to a jury when you believe in your heart he did it?
Of course. Look, my beliefs, my personal judgment do not shade or color how I defend a client. All I need to know is that my theories are supported by sufficient evidence. If they are supported, I think it would be legal malpractice not to present it on the client's behalf and leave it in the hands of a jury to decide what, if anything, to do with it. But to just leave it, I could see an appellate attorney all over it on appeal, especially if he's condemned for murder.
Yep.
Guys, we're talking about Stephan Sterns' secret jailhouse calls just revealed. Now, here he seems to blame Maddie's murder on lack of boundaries and poor, quote, sleeping arrangements. Listen.
You know, always had an issue with boundaries. She never respected any boundaries that I tried to set. You know, we've gotten arguments on more than one occasion about the sleeping arrangements, so I, would beg her, please make her go sleep in her own room. And she said, well, no, it's easier this way for me to wake her up when she's near me. And
hold on. Joe Scott Morgan, help me. Joe Scott Morgan joining me, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, star of a hit podcast series, Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. It goes on and on. Joe Scott.
And if you guys study pedos in general and chomos, they always say that. But in this case, there was a mother in the picture. There was a mother in the picture, which is Jenn Soto, for all those years. And she clearly tells us that that's not the evil thing, that she's always had that fear, which means that she knew, but she's not saying that. She just didn't want them to run away together. And yeah, Veronica, you're right. And what's up, my girl, Carrie? How you doing today? All right.
Do you hear this? I don't know how many child murder cases you have dealt with, but Stephan Sterns, charged in Maddie Soto's murder, says, I beg the mom, make her sleep in her own room.
Yeah, right.
And so I
What room?
It's beyond bizarre when you begin to think about this, and over and over and over again. Thing about it is, from an evidentiary standpoint, this guy has literally documented his steps up to the gallows.
Yes.
When you begin to think about this over all of these years relative to these horrible images that have been recovered.
Yep.
And then we have to get to this point where he is finding her
What
cold,
happened
her
between-
lips are blue, these sorts of things. I'll tell you why her lips are blue. Because
And I'm going to stop for a second because this is rare, you guys. This is very, very, very rare that you're going to get a defendant, that you're going to hear jail calls from a defendant, especially about a case like this. It's rare. You guys tell me and bring the case to me with a defendant that has the jail calls, that talks like this, and we will show that immediately. I will come on this weekend and I will stream that case because it literally just doesn't happen. Most of the time, the reason I get tired of phone calls, jail calls, no offense, I love the phone calls from Jail Channel and all that, but I get bored because the defendants, they never talk about the case. They talk about, oh, I made some cup of noodle differently today, or I had a burrito, or I'm watching a movie, or I had popcorn night. But they don't talk about the case, and they don't tell you what they did that day. They don't tell you how it went down, and they never for sure talk about the dead body and how it looked and what was going on. And you just don't hear that. I don't remember when the last time that I heard somebody on a jail call talking about their crime. So it's wild. Yeah, this case is wild. Donna Adelson reminds me, and Donna Adelson came kind of close to saying some things. They used this weird talk, but nothing like this case right here and what we're hearing in these phone calls. It just doesn't happen. All right. I'm just happy you're not replaying a car light video. I don't replay any videos ever, just day after day. I could barely get through jail calls and body cam without me wanting to jump out of my seat. So that is not guilty of crime. You got mixed up. How many drinks did you have today, Carrie? All love.
because if in fact we are to believe, and I do, what the medical examiner said, that this is an asphyxial death vis-a-vis strangulation, that means that she would have become cyanotic as hands, perhaps his, were wrapped around her throat and squeezed the life out of her. So her lips are, in fact, going to turn blue. It's not just as a result of decompositional changes. You have this that's going on, and we still don't know everything relative to the autopsy report. One of the things that they're thinking about, and they have expressed concern, and I use that term in quotes, is the hyoid bone. There's something that they're seeing with the hyoid bone. And Nancy, as you well know, generally the only way that a hyoid bone becomes fractured is by applying direct pressure, generally through manual strangulation.
There it is.
Joe Scott, whenever anyone says hyoid bone, I feel it's important that we show where the hyoid is.
Thank you, Nancy. We've shown it before. Let's see hers. This is real talk right here with Joseph Scott Morgan and Nancy Grace. Absolutely right. When we get into court, we're going to have the facts. We're going to have science. Now, we can have Stephan Sterns' attorney defending him any way that he wants to. He can take all those jail calls and bring them up and give us a different context than what the prosecution is going to. But what science and the toxicology and the autopsy and the tapes and whatever else we have is going to tell a different story. All right, let's keep going. Thank you guys for being here. Again, we have almost 500 people in chat. Please hit that like button.
If you could.
It's the only it's the only non-articulating bone in the body. That means it doesn't connect to any other bony structures. Its sole purpose, Nancy, is to anchor the tongue in the back of the neck or in the back of the throat. So it's right in this, and it's kind of, we describe it in forensic pathology as being bird shaped, all right, but it's kind of in a horseshoe shape, and it anchors the tongue in the back of the throat.
I think it looks like a wishbone.
It kind of does, only without the little stem on it, okay? But it looks more like
it's not really
bird.
attached to any bones. It's not like the hip bone connected to the leg bone. It's not connected. It's just hanging there.
Yeah, it is. And it's got two horns, two major horns and lesser horns that are up here. And when it's snapped, you can see these little fracture lines in it. And there'll be focal areas of hemorrhage in there as well. They're seeing something there, Nancy. This is repeated over and over again relative to the hyoid bone. They have concern about it. That means direct pressure would have had to have been applied in order to fracture this thing. And that means coming in with a C-clamp or throttling, this sort of thing, in order to choke the life out of this child.
So, guys, not with what Joe Scott said, all correct, I might add, from what we've been able to glean from word about the autopsy report. What is Stephan Sterns' response? He says, "No one respected my boundaries." And then he blames the whole thing because Jenn Soto didn't give him any privacy. You have got to hear this.
We didn't have any privacy, and just didn't have any space to ourselves. And she would suggest, well, maybe you should go sleep in bed instead. And it's like, it's like a twin bed, and I'm, 6+ feet, and no. Why would I want to do that instead of sleeping in our king size bed? I should have broken up with her a long time ago and just distance.
I should have broken up with her a long time ago instead of abusing her daughter for that many years. Man, I can't believe I did that. After 6-7 years, you would have thought, and all the filming and trading. I mean, it's just the defense attorney is going to have to tell this story, you guys, in the way that he's telling it. This is yesterday, Big Girl for Life. This just came out like last night, like right before I streamed. I'm at 4:00, 7:00 Eastern, so it just came out. This is like yesterday, literally yesterday evening. Thanks for asking. I try to play the latest content for you and bring up the latest information that I always have. I don't try to just recycle stuff unless I need to bring back the point and so you guys can see it. Again, I still have that FDL report that I badly need to go over with you guys. And I want to go over the emergency arrest warrant at the same time. So other channels have done that, but I am not other channels. And we still have members only tomorrow. And then Friday, we have call-ins in the Maddie Soto case, again, with new content, not recycled. All right. So thank you for becoming a member. Big Girl for Life. I appreciate you. Perfect timing. Tomorrow is the members only. Thank you guys. He's complaining about privacy when Maddie didn't have a bedroom, sleeping in the living room, and then going back and forth between either being with two monsters or one monster. So what kind of thing is that? All right. Bummed his little parent. Yep. But she held all the cards. Remember that. That's my opinion. That's gross. And that's really one of the only times where you see them being semi-affectionate. Best dad ever, which really bothers me as well. Oh, it says day. I'm sorry. Best day ever. Still bothers me. This is a facade right here, you guys. This is not. This is more of how their relationship was.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Thank you, Synth. I appreciate
Please
you.
join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children,
Yes.
to solve unsolved homicide.
That's a good
calls you hear on the line. The caller and the receiver of the call can hear a recording stating that this is a call from a CI Correctional Institute. Everybody knows they're recorded. I guess they think the prosecutors just won't make the effort to listen to them. Well, guess what? They did. Joining me now, special guest Barry Hutchinson, 26 years in LA, now owner of Barry and Associates Investigative Services. Barry, thank you for being with us. Barry, here we hear, it goes on and on and on. We hear Stephan Sterns and mother, Deborah Sterns, stating Jenn Soto had been thinking about this for a long time. They're basically trying to blame Jenn Soto for her daughter's murder. Did you hear that?
I think
We've been doing that since the beginning. The very first calls that came out, they told Stephan, you better open your mouth and tell what's going on before you get the death penalty. What's up, Gringo? Good to see you. Yeah, definitely busy day, busy week. And Clar, you know you're my girl. Love you. Sometimes I can't get back to you guys. Clar included. I have this Google number that sometimes just like doesn't work right, and so the text messages don't come in. So any of you guys never, ever, not you, just you, Clar, anybody else, don't think I'm ever ghosting you. I just get like 50, 60, 70, 80 text messages a day and then emails galore. So yeah, don't ever think that. Brenda caught because Jenn Soto brought this loser into the home and sent him to sleep with her. Yeah, that's what bothers me, why they didn't arrest her for that, because she put Maddie in harm's way and it resulted in a death. So neglect resulting in a death, I'd be happy with that if she got like 10 years just to get her in handcuffs. But they only get one chance to try her for the big thing. So that's why I believe they're still building a case.
I think that this whole family is so screwed up. I guarantee you,
Wait
if
a
I was
minute, Barry Hutchinson, I don't care. I don't care who has a history of what. We're at the innocence guilt phase. This is going to a trial. I don't care who wet their bed when they were 3 years old. Don't care. I care who killed this little girl who her repeatedly and murdered her. Now we hear Stephan Sterns claiming that Jenn Soto, the mother, had been, quote, thinking about this for a long time. We see where he's going with this.
Oh, yeah, he's going to try to point the accusatory finger toward her, to a certain degree to take some of the heat off him. But you know what? When you've got a dead body on video leaning to the left in a vehicle that's been seen, and then you have a cadaver dog get a hit on trace chemical for decomposition, I think there's a couple of nails in your coffin there, pal.
Well, Dubé, you actually have a little bit of a leg to stand on in that there's a way for this guy to escape the death penalty. Right. I'll tell you what I think it is. The jury will be angry at Jenn Soto, and they may partially blame her for ignoring the fact right under her nose, just rubbing her nose in it, that Stephan Sterns, her live-in boyfriend Mooch, does he even have a job, was sleeping with her daughter every night. The little girl said she wanted to go live in the woods.
I would definitely want to go live in the woods if it was either sleep with Jenn and Stephan or sleep with Stephan, no other option. And yes, Indy Isham, I'm ignoring you. I've been watching you fly by and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to talk to her. Because you know how Jay from Guilty of Crime does. But yeah, I mean, literally, what option did she really have? Not much of an option, you guys, at all. So there's that. We'd all rather live in the woods than to have to deal with that. LOL, y'all on the wrong side. Yeah, we can't let that happen. Now, again, they want to get. I don't think that they're not building a case against Jenn Soto. If you are into true crime and you know about how police officers work, how cases work, I absolutely believe that they are building a case against her. I can't tell you what because I don't know, but there's so much evidence. There's so much circumstantial. They just need a little bit of hard evidence, whether it be DNA, a picture. It's not going to be just Stephan saying this.
Wonder why. So the jury, right or wrong, may partially blame Jenn Soto for the situation and reason, well, she's not getting convicted. I sure as HELL am not sending him to the death penalty.
Yeah, probably.
I agree with you 100% on that. They're not even assuming that they think mom had a hand in it by looking the other way with, blissful ignorance and blind fate, whatever you want to call it. He is the one on trial, not her. Right. His only other hope to be spared of death is the new law in Florida, where they allow for an 8-4 verdict in the penalty phase to execute. If they come back, let's say 8-4 or 9-3 or some other non-unanimous split, that could spare him death.
Guys, there's more of Stephan Sterns whining, and I haven't even gotten him whining about his mattress and the food. So far, he's been blaming Jenn Soto for Maddie's death. And we're all angry that Jenn Soto allowed a situation where her daughter slept night after night after night with her mooch live-in boyfriend. But to blame her for the murder itself is a whole nother thing. And that sounds like what he and his mommy and daddy are cooking up. Remember, the mommy and the daddy not charged with anything. Oh, and I haven't even got to them claiming that he has PTSD because he found the body. I mean, really?
Again, I do think, and you guys don't shoot the messenger. The defense always has to have a defense if you're going to go on trial. So I do believe what he's telling us here is that they're going to go for abuse of a corpse. They're going to say that what Stephan said, that he, he was in there hanging out. They told her, Jenn said, go to bed. He put her to bed. Everything was all good. He went and haunted around the house, went for a walk. When he came back, her lips were blue. Something was wrong with her neck. Or maybe earlier on in the night, Jenn had come in and got mad, or they were arguing. But he's definitely going for the abuse of a corpse and being the victim in this. And he should have called 911, but he didn't. And then the CSAM, we can tell what's happening there, right? I mean, he's said it from the beginning, even with the pictures Maddie drew and everything else. He's gonna say that TBI, that darn TBI, he was just couldn't help being attracted to them kids, and Maddie wouldn't listen to his boundaries, and Jenn sent him to bed. So that's what he's going for. The least amount that he can get is what he's going to do. Sin, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. If we get up to 420 likes, I'll gift 20 memberships. You guys, it's free to hit that like button. It's not free to get 20 memberships, where we're having a members only tomorrow, and we're giving out free merchandise, which we're going to be giving a lot more merch away now that we got this awesome new merch store. So thank you guys. Just hit that like button. Let's get it up there, and you'll get memberships that aren't so free.
But that said, listen to this.
I wish I had done the correct thing to begin with.
Yeah.
I wish I'd run downstairs and shaken her awake and called 911 and all that, and deserved a lot.
I wish you had too. I wish you had too. Maybe she could have been saved, but
she was beyond that.
Dave Mack joining me, Crime Stories investigative reporter who has poured through every one of these recordings word by word.
Yeah.
Dave Mack, can you believe what you're hearing? I wish I had found her and, quote, shaken her awake and called 911. Yeah, why didn't you? They are feeding into it. The mommy and the daddy are basically feeding their baby boy on a silver spoon a whole plate full of BS.
Yep. And I think that we're seeing that played out, where he, for some reason, is trying to snow job his parents and believes that they're believing him. And that's when his mother says, are they treating you for PTSD after what you've found? I mean, they're living in a real fantasy world, Nancy. This is only something that a child, and I mean a child, talks to their parents like this. But we're dealing with somebody who's supposedly an adult grown-up man and two adult grown-up parents.
Yeah, they're delusional. He was being nice by saying in a fantasy world, but we all know that's very delusional of him. And yeah, there was a tattoo on him. He's gross. We don't even care what tattoos that he has. It's disgusting. Carrie said, I heard what you said earlier, commenting on how happy you don't play a car light video every day. I was emphasizing it's nice to be on the side. Oh no, I know exactly what you were saying, Carrie, and I know exactly what case you're talking about and who you're talking about with the car light video every day. And I know your sense of humor, girlfriend. Don't think I don't. All right, Stinky Cheese. Thank you for being a member for 7 months. I do appreciate that so very much. Nancy's right up there with Judge Judy. Love them both. Yeah, if Judge Judy had that, they have that same loud, brash, right? You're never going to hear them talk from a perspective of a defense attorney because she was once a prosecution. So if you know anything about the legal justice system, everyone's has a different side. You guys would be very pissed if I was advocating for the children and trying to give them a voice, but then I started saying, well, maybe Stephan did have a TBI and he should be, his parents coddled him, so he should get a lesser charge. You're not going to ever hear me say that. Christine, what's up? Jay, love, how you cover stories, amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's keep going.
And they're acting like the 6-year-old who got caught cheating in first grade on his spelling test.
Man, you put it better than I could have, Dave Mack.
Yeah.
So, Dave, listen to this. His new story is evolving. And Dubé, prick your ears up on this because this is where the defense is going. There's a whole new story about how Maddie died. And try to, on The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy catches the wizard working the machines, and he says, don't look at the man behind the curtain. I guess they want the jury not to remember all the rape videos of this little girl on Stephan Sterns' phone and that hyoid bone being broken or dislodged like Joe Scott Morgan was just describing. Yeah, don't look at that. Look at this. Listen to the new theory emerge.
She was in a different part of the house?
Yeah.
She wasn't with you?
Well, she had gone to be with me earlier in the night, but I left her alone for quite a while I was sort of just walking around and, haunting around the house.
Again, haunting around the house, but he uses quite a while as a term because he doesn't want to lock himself into what the toxicology report's going to say, what the pathologist says, what he doesn't want to lock himself into a time where someone can get up on there and say, did you hear that jail call? He said he walked away for, 45 minutes and there's no possible way within 45. And now I'm just making this up. I don't know what happens with the body 45 minutes later, 2 hours later, 4 hours later. I just don't. Not yet. I'm still learning. But he says haunting around the house and he uses very non-specific, non-committal words because he doesn't want to get locked into that, but he knows that they're listening to this and that the prosecution will use this against him, right? Everybody has a context. You have a context of what I'm saying. I have a context of what you're saying, and what you're saying might not be the exact same thing. I'm catching it because of the context, and maybe I missed part of that context, right? So that's what we're working with here. He knows it. The parents know it. They're all disgusting. Glitter Girl, hi Jane, guilty crime, justice for Maddie, arrest Jenn Soto, death penalty for Stinky Sterns. Absolutely. And hashtag Stinky Sterns.
I do.
Were you awake when sent her into the room with you?
Yeah.
And she was fine when she came into your room? What time at night was that?
Maybe 11-ish or so, I'm not sure.
Okay. So she was fine. So what happened between 11 and whenever you found her?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
That is the main question. So, Dave Mack, what is he? Is he actually going to say she came into my bedroom because they just don't have boundaries? They didn't respect my privacy. And then he goes outside to breathe in the night air, right? And he comes back and she's dead. And instead of calling 911, and she's cold, by the way. Morgan's got.
And her hyoid's broken, by the way. And that is very funny, Tiff. We got the Grimace here. Grimace Potato, Jenn Soto. And even though it's backwards, it's introducing the Grim Potato. You're very clever, Tiff. You guys, Tiff is our newest mod. Thank you for being part of our team. That is funny. I'm going to post it up afterwards on my page. Introducing the Grim Potato. She does look like the Grimace, doesn't she? But then she also looks like an evil potato. So thank you, Tiff, for the sense of humor and the graphic ability to make Grimace Jenn. All right, let's keep going.
He's going to have a field day with the fact that she was already cold to the touch. He finds her cold to the touch and then decides, instead of calling 911, that he'll just dress her for school, strap her body in the car, drive around, and then dump her body. Is that right, Dave Mack?
Thank you.
That is what he's shoveling. But I found something fascinating in the way he's talking to his parents, because he tries to pull them back into things they remember from him as a child. Like when he talked about how he had left her alone for a while, and he mentions walking around the house, and he called it haunting around the house, as I like to do. He's trying to relate this to something that they can understand and identify with and believe him. Because to anybody else looking at his story, you're going, this is total BS. But his parents, he can milk these moments of past and present and blur them together so that they're like, hey, yeah, I want to believe my son. I want to believe he's telling the truth. And that's where he gives them those bits that make no sense to us, but that they can hold on to.
And guys, you got to remember, people do have character witnesses. Who is going to be his character witness? Do you think the parents are going to come and be character witnesses? I don't think that we've heard anybody else that has anything good to say about Stephan. Everybody that's come out of the woodworks has said, well, he did this with my girlfriend, or he dated a younger girl, or he, even the other friend that was like, I didn't know he did that. I had friends around. He was over there snorting them Adderall. Remember that person? There's no character witness that's going to be for him unless his parents step in. So I wonder, you guys let me know in chat if you think that those delusional parents are going to get up on the stand and be a character witness and talk about how smart he is and how his TBI and, just stand up for him, because that's what happens. Yeah, the epitome of dysfunction. I'm glad you guys are getting a laugh, because that's what we do at Guilty of Crime. We talk about what's really going on, but we also got to laugh so that we can absorb and get all this down, because it's pretty gross and disgusting, right? Grim Potato, very funny. Welcome, Kiki. That's all right that you're late. You're here. Welcome. Hit that like button, you guys. If we get 350 likes, somebody's gonna donate 5 or gift 5 Guilty of Membership Crimes. And if we get 420, we get 20 of them. So hitting the like button's free. There's 500 people in chat, you guys. That shouldn't be too hard to just go bink and hit that like button. All right, that's what it sounds like to me anyway.
Oh, the devil is in the details. Stern, please keep talking. Listen to this.
Well, I discovered her.
My pill. She took it. Reese took it. Hold on.
In the state that she was in after everything was said and done. So obviously I can't get into detail, but no, I was not aware that she had passed on. As you know, I'm up and down throughout the night, and I was not in the room the whole time.
Mm-hmm. So he wasn't aware she was passed on, yet he found her cold to the touch with her lips blue. Now, the dad realizes the story is not gelling. Listen.
I mean, it's not like you just suddenly feel someone's ghost pass away from them. It's a discovery. And
so she wasn't even in the same room with you?
Well, I mean, she was in the room that I started in, but, I'm up and down throughout the night, and I tend to wander around the house and fiddle around on my phone and step out front and feel the nice, cool night air.
And just in case you guys are getting heated from this, and we'll let you know, Chick says, we only need 9 more likes. I did get up to get the happy pill, so there you go. That always makes us laugh. take your pills if you need them, okay? And thank you, Julie, for becoming a YouTube member. Let's keep going. You're very welcome. I had to go get it reorganize my desk without me asking her to. So,
air and all that.
There we go with a nice, cool night air again, Karen Stark. Do you hear him? Later on, he even suggests that someone had drugged Maddie.
Someone.
And he clearly indicates that would be her mother. How much more blame can he heap on other people, claiming he was wandering around the house, and while he was wandering, he came back in and found her dead?
Let's be perfectly clear. What's going on here is a cover-up and denial.
Yes.
How does he explain the fact that he took all those photos, the ones that were on his phone, and tried to erase them to make sure nobody would find?
Whoever this lady is, you guys clap for her. If she can hear it, do a virtual clap. She's amazing. Real talk, guys. We're listening to them, and they're feeding us. They're spoon feeding us this BS narrative. But when you get down to it, and you get the prosecution coming in and saying, "All right, you just heard that," and you hear him meandering and haunting, but the real fact is, look at how many photos he has on this hard drive, and look at this one photo, and look at the drawing from this little girl that's showing that there was that going on, etc., right? So welcome, Julie, for becoming a member. Yeah, thank you for being you. Appreciate you.
Why would he get rid of her possessions? He's just passing along the blame, and his parents are going along with it. I hypothesize because it's their son, so they're trying to make sense out of it. But all of this trying to shield the fact that this is a monster, a murderer, that he actually killed this girl, and he's saying as an adult that somebody was forcing him to sleep with her, to be with her, encouraging it, and he had nothing to do with this mature man who's become an infant and totally innocent. We know that is not true.
Well, I love that she calls him an infant, and Chick, you're awesome. Chick did what Chick said they would do, and I appreciate you. And also there is I won't say your last name, Deanna H. Thank you so much for the $5 Cash App. Says, love your channel. Well, thank you. I appreciate you so very much. All right, we got 508 people in chat. We just need 420. We're 353 and climbing. So awesome. Thank you again, Chick, for all the people that got memberships.
I'm assuming that they are treating you for PTSD because you found the body, not to mention everything else that went along with that.
Setting up that story.
Not treating me for anything except my blood pressure.
Thank you.
Well, they need to do the PTSD because you're not sleeping.
Thank you.
Well, I keep telling myself that I have to maintain my faith. Without faith and trust in God, I have nothing.
Now listen to this.
Before she goes on, you know what, Deb H? He actually said that Madeline Soto hasn't even come into his dreams. They edited it out. They blurred out the names. This must have been the redaction from a long time ago because she's a child. But it's interesting that he says that because he talks about having dreams at night, and that when he dreams, he's having these movie-themed dreams, like it's a movie going on, and the parents are like, huh? And he's like, actually, I was, Maddie hasn't even visited me, and they blur that out. So whether or not he's admitting it to himself, I can't imagine how that little girl that we're looking at right there, Madeline Soto, isn't haunting him. What he saw when he explains her blue lips and whatever else damage. And then he went back and visited her, you guys. That he visited her that night and tried to cover her up. He grabbed her from the front seat, put her into the trunk. I mean, it's just not what you do to people that you love. So I would hope that she's haunting him. Blames a 14-year-old that they both groomed. Maddie's haunting him. Exactly.
Body know the meaning of narcissist. Here we hear Stephan Sterns asking his parents to dump money into an account for a trust fund for him right after they die.
Job prospects are going to be difficult to come by. I might need some sort of resources to help me get back on my feet immediately until I can work out the income situation.
You're never getting out.
Don't know what that would be, but because
maybe
we may be gone by the time you get out.
I don't know if there's any way we might be able to set up some sort of trust fund or something.
A trust fund. Dave Mack, what did I just hear?
I just heard more and more BS, lies between Sterns trying to sell a bill of goods to his parents. But something that I'm caught with, Nancy, is how a couple of times during the course of these 35 phone calls, he actually, Sterns, mentions hurting his defense by saying something or giving too many details. And if we're truly seeking the truth, and he's truly an innocent man who did nothing wrong, that type of truth is something you want everybody to hear. So you would be saying these details for all the world to hear because you're an innocent guy. They got the wrong man. Anything would do, but he keeps covering up. He can't even tell the truth to his parents because he sold them a bill of goods that they're buying into. Our baby boy would never do this. It's her fault. The evil girls in his life, the females in his life did wrong, and he's the victim.
Yeah, I remember Karen Stark, how he was talking about how Maddie, who's 13, and her mother ogled him and admired him and made a big fuss about him. It's their fault. I mean, narcissism, he wants his parents who are retired to set him up a trust fund of their money to support him when he gets out and after they die. That's what's on his mind.
That's his agenda.
Well, of course, Nancy, there's no guilt there because he can't feel. But all he's worried about is what's going to happen in his future. Let them infantilize him and feel like they have to take care of him. It's all so typical. I can't think of a single sexual abuser, really, somebody who doesn't wind up saying that the children wanted it, that it's perfectly normal. It's okay to do this.
See, it is. And she says that too. She can't think of one that doesn't say this. And that's why what he's saying is just nonsense. And it's just messing up his case, in my opinion. You never hear that. You never hear people on jail calls doing what he's doing. He's trying to set up his story and he's backing his defense into a corner, in my opinion, which is good for the case, especially if it's 8 people, 8-4 for the death penalty. It's not even 12-12, you guys. So yeah, that's crazy. What's up, Anna? How you doing? All right, let's keep going.
And he fits the bill. He's only concerned.
Well, you're right, Karen Stark. Barry Hutchinson, 25 years in LE, now chief investigator, Barry and Associates.
Yeah.
Barry, he actually said she started it, talking about the little girl, Maddie, started the molestation.
The whole thing just sounds so sick. But, that's a commonality in these abusers. They like you said earlier, they always try to circumvent guilt of themselves by saying that somebody else is the one that initiated the contact or they're the ones that initiated the abuse. It's just the way that these pedophiles think, and it makes me sick, literally. I mean, child abuse cases like this, that was one thing in all my career in law enforcement that used to bother me the most. Whenever you had, cases like this where, there's an innocent victim that's a child and you feel like you're sitting in a chair with your hands and your arms tied. You can't do anything about it as an investigator, looking at this POS sitting across from you at a table, knowing damn good and well that you feel like just choking him to death.
Yes, I wish those guys that interrogated him said that, because you could see them looking at him from across the table, wanting to. They're getting angry. Both of them said they had children. And by the way, Stephan Sterns' parents, Chris and Deborah, your son has 3 belly buttons going on there. This one you can't see as well, but he's got 1, 2, and 3. And then down here, he's got a turtleneck. For those of you guys that didn't want to see the cactus peen, he did have a gastric sleeve. Bunch of idiots. All right. Hope they get to see this episode. And even if he was abused as a kid, there's so many people that contact me on my channel that have been abused. My mom has been abused, and never did she let that seep into how she raised us as children, other than being more protective. So that doesn't give me any kind of excuse. And yeah, Lady for Justice, I believe it. My son must have wanted it. This case gets me heated. They all say that. They all say that. And whether he was or whether he wasn't abused, still, we don't go around abusing other people because somebody does it to us. That's the choice he made.
It's right there at that point, but you can't. And yet they have the audacity to sit there and try to put this whole BS story on you to make you feel sorry for them. And we have to kind of play along with it and be a good actor to try to extricate information from them that's going to put them away for the rest of their life where they can't do it to another child.
Joe Scott Morgan, have you seen it all now? Stephan Sterns wants a trust fund set up by mommy and daddy.
Yeah, one of the most glaring things is that when his dad actually said, well, we might be gone. Did you hear that? And then he just continues on with this through line of all about him. He didn't pause for a moment and say, well, my God, that's horrible. Please don't say that, Dad, that you're going to be gone or that Mama's going to be gone. That's not what it's about. It's about him, moving forward. And he's going to need money when he gets out to get back on his feet. And, that shows you the level of callousness. And he's doing this to his parents. How much more so? How much more so, Nancy? A 13-year-old little.
Oh, that, by the way, you guys, that's one of the worst pictures that they have of Stephan Sterns is that one, because he literally, as the years go by, his eyes get darker and darker. And it's not just me. I know you guys a lot of you guys are empaths or really sensitive people. Look at how he looks. And then with that hair that looks like he's got horns on him, he does look like the devil. He looks like that typical when you watch a TV show of a man that plays a devil. That's what he looks like, but he's in real life. All right, we need 420 likes still, guys. We got 514 people in chat, and I'd like to get gifted for all you people for tomorrow.
To the level of callousness, and he's doing this to his parents. How much more so? How much more so, Nancy? A 13-year-old little girl that he's been victimizing allegedly these many years. Allegedly. He's that callous. He's that very callous. He's not genetically connected to her, Nancy. He just views her as something that is disposable. And as we found out, she was kind of tossed away like rubbish, wasn't she?
Maddie Soto.
I mean, look at that picture right there. That's why I like people to see, even though it's disgusting when you see her as a little girl on Stephan Sterns' shoulders. You see how she's reacting to him, and that Jen's just over there with her grimace face, smiling with all those gums that she has in her mouth. Too much gums, not enough teeth. You look at Maddie right there, and that's Grandpa Juan, by the way, and she looks like a beautiful young lady that she's turning into, but she never got to make it. That is not who you see on Sterns' shoulders years and years and years ago after being groomed and abused. That's what I want the jury to see. That's what I want them to see. Demons don't age well, right? And their eyes get more black. That one gets me every time. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? He looks horrible with his gray hair. Yeah, he looks like he's 70. No offense to anyone that's 70, but like a bad 70.
Wasn't she?
Maddie Soto was not disposable. We remember American hero, Deputy Sheriff Contreras Taylor, Bibb County Sheriffs, killed in the line of duty, survived by grieving fiance Jamisa, children Kalen, London, Carter. American hero, Deputy Sheriff Contreras Taylor. Thank you to all of our guests for being with us. But
all right, so Nancy's done. We got to hear that. That was awesome. A lot of people didn't see that because it came out late last night. So again, we're talking about what about Jenn? Stephan Sterns' mom is the one that actually said, hey, you must have PTSD after finding it, throwing tons of excuses, thank God for all of us that those phone calls are over for now. I believe there will be more phone calls to come, you guys, because he is getting a phone call. He's getting phone calls, and the only number that it shows, which we went over, is his dad. So I'm sure it's going to be his dad and his mom in the background talking about more things in the case, trying to push the narrative. Now, I don't know. We talk about it every time. It keeps getting pushed. There's a trial date that's set, you guys, but that the trial's not going to happen then. It's not going to happen. They have things set. What was it, in September? We have something set for September, but nothing's going to be solid. We're going to get some hearings. We're going to get some motions, but we're not going to get trials, in my opinion, for quite some time. So, yeah, and thank you for being here today. I know you work so hard. I appreciate you taking the time today to hit the like button and put justice for Maddie. Yeah, there's 500 people in chat. I guess we didn't make the 420. That was easy to do, guys, but tomorrow we are having a members only, and you guys don't want to miss out on the members only. No, he doesn't know what PTSD is, and I'm sure that just to get out of his cell and just to get documentation for his trial, that he's going and he's talking to somebody, and I'm sure that the lawyers have people set up that are talking to him, and they're going to use that TBI nonsense, and the parents are going to talk about it. But okay, so tomorrow it's the same time. Members only is going to be the same time as it always is, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, and then Friday we have another episode set up with the new content, and we're going to go over what part Jenn played in it that we can use. You know, she's always intertwined in this case, and that's why we can't understand why she's not arrested. We have 401 and 401 likes, 512 people, 19 people just need to hit that like button, and we'll get 20 more memberships, you guys. I really wanted to be able to hit that goal today. Maybe I can show you this real quick. I kind of want you guys to see this. Let's do this so we can see if we can hit that mark. Let me show you that document. I want you to see the emergency search warrant so you guys can get a good idea of what the police were doing. And yeah, justice for Maddie, what the police were doing when the dates were, right? You guys know when she went missing. So let's do this. Let me put this up and then we'll look here. Yeah, you guys, here's the emergency search warrant. This is like the very beginning of the case. That when the officers saw, okay, there it is, emergency search warrant, guys. You guys want to see this because it gives you a good idea of what happened in this case. Christina, thank you, Jay, and guilty of crime. Keep Maddie's name alive. All right, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna eat dinner after this, but I'm good. I just want to get you guys into the memberships because I want you to see that what we do in the members only, we usually present rough cases that I don't present on here, but we talk more freely. We have you guys sometimes, if you want, come up and talk. The things we do are different than most people do on other channels. So let me show you this real quick. This is the emergency search warrant that they put out for Stephan Sterns. Now, this is what when the police said we got to get this guy, they already knew that they were going to get him, even though they had the phone and everything and they were talking, letting Stephan run his mouth freely. This is what they were doing. Okay, so I kept looking for a date on here and I'm like, I can't find a date. Now, this says 9/14/2021. That's wrong. I don't know what they're talking about on that date, but this is Kissimmee Police Department waiting to immediately, directly, instantly, at once, without delay, proceed on this search warrant arrest. Now, this is after they saw them running their mouths, Jenn and Stephan Sterns, going on to news stations, telling us things that didn't quite sound right. In compliance with the 9th Judicial Circuit's warrant signing procedure, this cover sheet is attached to the request for an emergency arrest/search warrant. The Kissimmee Police Department recognized that an emergency is an unforeseen combination of circumstances that calls for immediate action and that law enforcement should seek emergency duty intervention only in a rare and extreme circumstances where the law or totality of the circumstances requires immediate action. And it must appear that urgent circumstances are present and lack of immediate action would result in loss of evidence or imminent escape of a suspect. Now, you guys remember the moment we saw them getting onto Sterns and saying, "You're under arrest, you can't leave." That's what they were doing behind the scenes. The location of the suspect, where Stephan was, he was at 2500 West Colonial Drive in Florida. It says, and the facts justifying the emergency are in custody. So he wasn't at Jenn's house or anything. If anyone remembers what that West Colonial Drive, Orlando, Florida was he at the police station, you guys? Do you know? And we made it, by the way. We made it to 420 likes, you guys. I'm that girl is a 420 girl. Does anyone know what 2500 West Colonial Drive is? Yes. Woo! Whoever promised the 20 memberships, you're SOL, because we made it. Okay. So this is what they were doing when Stephan and Jenn thought that nothing was going to happen. They were just going to get away, go home, take their pills. All right. What's up, Snee? Good to see you. So there's the emergency search warrant. I'm going to show you the date on it. Did we get the memberships gifted yet? 2500 West Colonial Drive. I got to look that up. So there, it's state of Florida versus Stephan Michael Sterns. I'm still looking for a freaking date and what they're charging him with. They hadn't found her body yet. So this is the CSAM of Maddie Soto. I'm still looking for a date. Page 203, page 203. Where is that date? There's that guy, 6'2", 220 pounds. And we finally get the date. This was February 28th, 2024, you guys. And they've got Demon Sterns in there for an emergency search warrant. Synth, did we gift those memberships? We did. Thank you so much. And Deborah Myers for the $5 super chat earlier for the Guilty of Crime peeps. You found the channel. Okay, there we go. So you guys, 20 memberships from Synth. We appreciate you. So many people got gifted memberships today. That was most of what we are doing, is getting ready for tomorrow. So I just want you guys to know, while Jenn Soto, the dumb potato 1 and potato 2, thought they were going to get away with the abuse of Maddie, and not only the abuse of her, but getting rid of her body and hopefully them not finding it, not knowing what she was wearing. That's what they were doing. February 28th, 2024. They were making sure, and I'm sure this happened on the 28th, but just think about this. It was ordered on the 28th. They had to collect all the evidence that they collected here. And that means that this was happening probably on the 27th. So this, I don't want to talk about all this because they're talking this gave me a nightmare. They talk about her chest area, her bad parts and whatever. Upon looking at Stephan's phone, several images and videos were located, which depicted the bad stuff, right? How could I cross that out? There it is. I blacked it out. Kinda. Oh, I can't watch that part. Okay, after an extensive canvass of the area and interviews with either Maddie's or Maddie's family and friends, it was unusual for Maddie to be dropped off down the street from school and not to stay in communication with the family. So this, guys, gives you a good idea. Probably February 27th, the police were already onto him, you guys. And by the 28th, it was an emergency and they wanted to make sure that he didn't get away. And I really do wish that Jenn Soto would have been part of that. But what they're saying here is everybody they talked to when they were canvassing the place said, no, that doesn't happen. Maddie's never dropped off that far away from school. Something's wrong. Those people that went on the news station, they're hiding something. It's scripted. And there you have it. It's the office of the undersheriff. Thank you. And yes, we'll leave that up. Synth, you're so very awesome. We appreciate you. Okay, so the search warrant was probably happening on the 27th. It got approved on the 28th because of the interviews by the friends and family. Then they took his phone and they found those images. It talks about her all this stuff, penetration, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to talk about all that. And then probable cause. I want to like cross that all out. I hate that stuff. No. Okay. Move. That's what I should do when I don't want to see that. Just cross it all out. It should be noted. And then they go about his penis and penetration. And then there's the pinkish color that they talk about. And that is why we needed to see the pinky winky, you guys, was because of that pink color they talked about. I still never saw the pink spot on it, but that might be because his turtleneck was covering the pink spot. All right. I didn't cross out the facts. I crossed out the facts on my screen. Those give me nightmares, Brendan. The facts, I get nightmares. I have this document. I can cross it out, rip it up, put it in the shredding machine. It's nasty. I have a 10-year-old. I don't want to talk about her BRESTS and her VAG. I don't want to talk about that. So yes, those are the facts, but I don't want to see them. I don't want to get have a nightmare again. So yeah, the pinky. How about the stinky winky? You think it was stinky? The cheese. What do they call that? The cheese buildup he had in there from not washing. All right, Snee, thank you so much. Good to see you. I'm glad you ended up rolling on in today. Thank you for the Guilty of Crime membership. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a members only. You got to be a member to be part of it, and you got to be a member to win. All right? So on that note, thank you everybody that donated. Thank you, Synth. I appreciate you. Yeah, I feel bad for them too. It's hard to even read. Yeah, you got that right. All right, you guys, hit the like button on your way out. We made our goal. Thank you, Rebecca, Beauty Lover M, Marilyn, Lucky, MM, Forever True, Kathy, Sadie's Mama, Synth, Foxy, Tiff, Carly, Sweetie, even though you're not here, I'm that girl. All you guys have a wonderful night. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a good one.
Guilty of Crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of Crime.
Are you guilty of crime?